Hey everyone, Matron here bringing you another StarCraft 2 commentary, this time a game between AllAboutYou, spawning as the Red Terran, and his opponent, the Blue Zerg, MsButtLoaves. So this is two top 200 players. AllAboutYou is ranked 128th in Blizzard's top 200, and MsButtLoaves at 140. So two quality players. You might not have seen MsButtLoaves. I believe that Sai has actually played him before, and AllAboutYou, some of his VODs are pretty popular. And MsButtLoaves starting with some sort of back and forth here with AllAboutYou. This is part of a King of the Hill, so these players all sitting in a channel and playing against each other, so being a little bit friendly, perhaps giving maybe too many details about the personal lives here. But we are on Xel'Naga, or not Xel'Naga, Shakura's Plateau here, and we do have these northern positions, so MsButtLoaves may be able to get down a fast expand as he's explaining a bit about his childhood to AllAboutYou. And AllAboutYou may respond with a fast expand of his own, a barracks into a command center. We see the first barracks going down now. MsButtLoaves has not yet thrown down any sort of pool or hatch, so be interested to see what decision he makes. He may be waiting for this Overlord, but I don't think he's going to get there. So he is sending the Overlord at a good angle here, right towards the mouth of this base, and he's going to be able to see these barracks right away. Looks like a second barracks going up, so AllAboutYou, foregoing any sort of gas, going to have 2 racks play in the early going, and it's going to be a lot of pressure on MsButtLoaves, who still doesn't have a pool. Up to 16 drones now, does finally have this hatchery down, but really needs to get a pool up at this point. There's not very long distance between these two players, and the first racks is done, the Marine is out on the way, and the second rack's about 2/3 of the way done as well. See AllAboutYou, still no gas, throwing down supply depots, making sure he's not supply capped. MsButtLoaves finally throwing down a pool, but that's going to be a long time coming, about 50 more units of time. Be interested to see whether AllAboutYou is able to get some pressure in here. Looks like the first Marine is out and about, maybe guarding the ramp here, trying to pick off an Overlord. MsButtLoaves is retreating here, but we do see that he has seen both those racks, so he knows that this pressure may be coming, and pulling off a number of drones here. So wants to make sure that there are no bunkers going down along with those Marines. It looks like AllAboutYou is just dancing around midfield here with the SCV and the Marines, rallying the rest of the Marines over to MsButtLoaves' base here. The drone pulling down wants to try to bypass the Marines so they can get a little bit more scouting, but it looks like AllAboutYou is going to be able to find this drone, doing a good job hitting that tower. He knows he's going to die here, but he wants to see the army size, and by hitting that tower, going to give him a lot more of an idea of what's about to come. See MsButtLoaves getting down 2 spine crawlers here, something most players forego in the early going, but it's really good to try to defend against this Marine SCV pressure. So we do see 6 SCVs, and it looks like 4 Marines coming off. They're going to try to focus down these spine crawlers before they can finish. The spine crawlers about 90% done. Now AllAboutYou is going to be employing a little bit of micro with these Marines, trying to get a surround on these spine crawlers, taking it down with these SCVs, focus firing down these Marines with the spine crawlers. And it looks like AllAboutYou may actually get down this spine crawler, perhaps. He needs to try to focus down these Marines. They are the major damage dealers, but it looks like he is going to be okay with just taking out all of those SCVs. And now AllAboutYou trying to stream more and more Marines off these 2 racks. They're producing non-stop, but again, not queuing up out of either of these racks. And now may have to actually pull back. Those 2 spine crawlers, too much to handle for AllAboutYou. And now some Zerglings coming out for MsButtLoaves as well, repositioning that spine crawler, so we'll be ready for any sort of pressure which comes. Marines are all gathering up here midfield. Now 8 Marines going to be easily taking down these Zerglings. Needs to retreat back. Zergling speed is not yet on the way, as he's just got up this gas, so just working on a bit of gas there. Neither player really getting too much gas. We see AllAboutYou getting his up as well. So very low tech, just mineral heavy wars here. And now these Marines are going to try to take down the spine crawler, getting in a good concave, able to focus it down easily there. And now going to be able to employ a little bit of micro. These Zerglings much faster on the creep. So MsButtLoaves wants to fight on this creep. And AllAboutYou, watch this micro, insane. He's getting the shoot and scoot down perfectly. He's moving just a little bit and then shooting and backing up able to take down the majority of the Zerglings there. We see more Zerglings streaming in. Both queens from MsButtLoaves down here trying to fend off these Marines. But some great Marine micro. One is 5 kills, another 2, another 1. And they were able to take down quite a bit of the Zerg forces there. If we look at the units lost, 900 to 1025. And looks like AllAboutYou is going to use this opportunity to get up his own expansion, still rallying Marines to midfield, wants to keep the pressure on, wants to try to keep from getting surrounded here, but MsButtLoaves is doing a good job getting a surround there. Off the creep, it can be difficult without Zergling speed. Now going to be trying to take down these last 4 Marines. AllAboutYou doing his best to do as much damage as he can with these Marines. See, he is moving every opportunity he gets and still shooting. So great control by AllAboutYou, but now he really needs to bunker up here, throwing up 1 bunker, trying to get down a supply depot as well to wall off a little bit, but there's plenty of room. These Zerglings can get in here, and there's not a lot of army for AllAboutYou at this point, having to pull off a number of SCVs to DPS as well. The Zerglings trying to focus down these Marines. The Marines doing a good job on that ramp, microing away from the Zerglings. SCVs tanking a little bit of damage, but these Marines doing a great job defending there, and it looks like both players taking the opportunity to just kind of macro up a little bit. They both have 2 bases up. We do see a Baneling Nest going up for MsButtLoaves. Interesting position. Any sort of scan will not show the Baneling Nest. He's about to finish speed as well. Wants to start that creep highway towards his opponent. The Banelings and the Zerglings with speed. Both very good on creep against those Marines. Off creep a little bit more difficult to micro against those Marines. Marines have the advantage off the creep, so do want to make sure that you're constantly spreading creep there. Good positioning by MsButtLoaves with this Overlord. He's got a number by his back door as well. He wants to make sure that if that backdoor rocks are opened up, he does have some advanced warning. Now it looks like he has a number of lings right outside the base of the Terran opponent here, and he's going to be able to suicide one at a time to try to see what's going on here, what sort of tech path AllAboutYou is going for. It looks like AllAboutYou throwing down another 2 racks as well as a factory. Going to start the production of medevacs, suiciding 1 Overlord in there, seeing mostly Marines at this point, so that's going to make him feel better about going for that Baneling Nest. And we see that Baneling speed is coming out now as well, positioning these Zerglings very interesting here, laying a little bit of a trap. He's got these Zerglings in the north. He's going to be able to spot any sort of movement by AllAboutYou. So we see these Marines moving out, and watch these Zerglings trying to stream into the base of the Terran player, surrounding these Marines here, able to take them down quickly, and AllAboutYou not reacting very quickly, trying to bring back those Marines from center field there, but these Zerglings are going to be able to take down this bunker. No, it looks like they will not be able to. The SCVs did a good job repairing that right away, and now these Zerglings are going to be caught between a rock and more Marines, and going to have to try to stream out of there with that newfound speed. We do see that the Baneling speed about 40 units of time away. So MsButtLoaves at this point just spreading creep, trying to do his best to get some Banelings ready for this impending Marine pressure. Do see the Marines do have that combat shield and the stim at this point, so very powerful. No medevacs yet. We do see this starport on the way for AllAboutYou, and now just moving across this creep is AllAboutYou. Wants to make sure that he is not sitting on the creep, as it's much easier to move these Banelings and the Zerglings towards these Marines if they are on this creep. We see the Baneling speed kicking in there and able to get a great amount of damage on those SCVs, or on those Marines. About 2/3 of the Marines going down to those Banelings, and now the Zerglings coming in to try to finish them off. They're stimming and doing a good job microing, so able to take down the last few Zerglings there, but more and more Zerglings and Banelings on the way for MsButtLoaves. Got another 10 Zerglings in production, working on a Spire as well. So going to be going for some Mutiling and Baneling pressure here, still spreading that creep. And AllAboutYou just pressuring with these few Marines, going to try to pick off some creep tumors. And again, with these low HP Marines, they can do a nice job at least picking off the creep tumors. Doing some good reinforcement here as well. So it looks like MsButtLoaves trying to get up another base here. He will soon be on 3 bases. And now dancing right near this creep. Baneling's doing a very nice job taking down a number of Marines there. And AllAboutYou getting a little bit sloppy with his micro in the mid game here. We saw at the start did such a good job with those Marines microing away from the Zerglings. But now the Baneling speed has finished, the Zergling speed is finished, and he's fighting on creep, so much more difficult. We see a medevac with 8 Marines at this point moving out, and another one with a few Marines moving out to the north. So we may see a 2-pronged attack here. Double drop, AllAboutYou making his way into the main with the first medevac. and making his way right to the back of the mineral line. Going to see this lair, and he's going to try to take out some of these drones. We do have MsButtLoaves doing a good job reacting to the medevac in the southern part of the map and keeping the Zerglings right on top of it, doing a transfer of drones at this point from his main to his natural. And now we see the Banelings rolling in here. That's a lot of Banelings for just a few Marines. He's got to make sure that he is not investing too many minerals and gas worth of Banelings, just taking down a few of these Marines. The Marines able to focus down a number of Mutalisks there, and then a pickup by AllAboutYou, so not losing too many Marines there. And now he's going to take advantage of these ledges and the fact that the Zerg player doesn't have great creep spread between these bases quite yet, and he's going to do as much economic damage as he can. See the Mutalisks moving in here, able to take down these, or should be able to take down these Marines, but the medevac doing a good job healing, and when you don't have a lot of Zerglings, you don't have a lot of Mutalisks, the medevac and a small number of Marines can do a ton of damage, and healing up those Marines non-stop, especially with the combat shield. See Marines moving out across the field in the center, and a drop in the main as well. But again, this is on the edge of the creep, so MsButtLoaves is going to be able to see that. AllAboutYou doing a nice pickup there, trying to pressure into the third, trying to focus down this queen as well. It's down to only 63 hit points, but it looks like the Marines are not going to be able to take it down. AllAboutYou just picking off any sort of stray overlords that are between the two bases at this point. Also about to throw down a third command center, and a number of turrets as well are planned for this this set of real estate here. So we do see that the Mutalisks are able to make it in here before the turrets go down. So AllAboutYou is going to have to bring this ball of Marines up at this point and try to fend off these Mutalisks. But the Zerglings coming from behind going to be very good pinching these Marines, but the Marines doing a nice job microing away from the Mutalisks and the Zerglings. But the Banelings coming in with that speed, able to wreck those Marines, taking down a number of SCVs as well. Now finally the siege tanks moving into position. Siege tanks with this small choke going to be quite good against the Zerglings and the Banelings. These backdoor rocks are not yet taken down. So AllAboutYou is going to be able to defend this expansion if he gets down a few turrets and with these siege tanks. Do you see creep spread being creep being spread 3 creep tumors at a time across midfield, a 4th going up for MsButtLoaves. Something you really need to rapidly do as a Zerg player against Terran is expand. Make sure you're at least 1 base ahead. See another drop coming for AllAboutYou into the main here, and there are not enough Mutalisks to take on these Stim Marines, so waiting until he's got these Zerglings to play as well, and MsButtLoaves trying to get us around. But again, without many Mutalisks here to take down the medevac just able to pick up those Marines, can drop them as well, and they are going to ward off these Mutalisks. So it's going to be a thorn in the side of MsButtLoaves. Having this medevac in the back of the base can drop at any point, and needs to try to stream these Zerglings into the center of all of his bases so that he can defend against pushes at the front door and the back door. Another drop coming in here at the main. Going to try to focus down this extractor, stimming up and focusing down drones as well, and using this as a distraction to move across the field with these Marines, a Thor, and a few tanks as well. Thor is going to be very good against the Mutalisks, especially if they do not come with any sort of Zergling pressure. So trying to siege up the front door of his opponent. He is on the creep, so he knows that his opponent can see this, and he's going to have the advantage with the Zerglings and the Banelings. But if we check out the army tab, it's 3,100 to 1,200 at this point. AllAboutYou just putting a stranglehold on MsButtLoaves. A lot of economic damage, taking down those drones, and now focusing down this hatchery as well. Still pushing forward a few Marines and this Thor, and they are ready to take on all comers. So it looks like MsButtLoaves is going to try to prepare a last-ditch effort to break the siege, moving in here with the Banelings and the Zerglings, Mutas as well, but these siege tanks just ripping apart these Banelings. Banelings able to make their way into here a little bit, doing tiny bits of damage to these siege tanks, but without Zergling support and a lot of Mutalisks, they're going to be able to fall to these Marines. AllAboutYou now pushing forward again with these siege tanks, doing his best to stim up and focus down the Zerglings and the Banelings before they can even be created. We look at the production tab, 22 Lings on the way, as well as 2 Queens for MsButtLoaves, but there's the GG. It looks like his opponent had made it well into his base at this point with those siege tanks. Going to be very difficult to break these Marines and the siege tank pressure with just the Zerglings and the Banelings. So a lot of great micro at the very start there for AllAboutYou, using those Marines to pressure and throw his opponent off, forcing MsButtLoaves to make a lot of lings in the early going. MsButtLoaves using those lings to counterattack there and doing some decent damage, at least making AllAboutYou think about defending and bunkering up there. But then once AllAboutYou was able to get on this third base, able to get out those siege tanks and Thors, there was nothing that the Ling, Baneling, and Mutalisk composition of MsButtLoaves could do. So AllAboutYou showing very nice multi-drops there and control with those Marines, able to take down this top 200 opponent MsButtLoaves in this King of the Hill match. If you're looking for more StarCraft 2 action, check out my channel Matron StarCraft at youtube.com. Thanks for watching this one. Take care.